Like pixels on a screen, these are the games of our lives. It's the games of our lives, and there's been a dearth of news this week. Let's just get right to it. Mike, what you been playing?
Hey, so I took the plunge on Splatoon.
Is it fresh?
Oh, it's so fresh, you have no idea.
How can you quantify its freshness?
Oh no, it's a really good game. I can't think of another Nintendo game that's so dependent on the online portion.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a great first-person shooter, or third-person shooter, I should say. You can play it with the motion. It works super well with the motion controls. That's actually what I use now. Like I don't even use the. It's really impressive how good a job they did.
Yeah. Well, all the reviews and the people that I trust have been saying that it is a competent shooter, but the Nintendo polish sort of really pushes it over the edge.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think one of the most interesting things about it is that you can play the game not even almost ignoring the other players. I mean, you won't do well if you totally ignore the other players, but you really don't have to worry about any sort of kill death at all.
Okay.
Because basically, so obviously, if you don't know, the goal is to paint the arena your team's color.
All right, right.
So pretty much when you're shooting, it's almost beneficial to miss, because as you miss and hit the floor, that's more points for your team.
Okay, and there's a bunch of different ways you can do that, right? Different weapons.
Yeah, so generally, there's sort of your general fast shooting blaster. There's maybe a sniper rifle that will shoot a long line of paint. But to me, one of the most interesting things is they have a roller that's basically looks like a giant paint roller. And with that, there's really not even, it's almost like you're playing a different game, because you can't really, you're almost playing a different fight, because it will instantly kill a player it touches, but you move very slow when you're using it.
Okay.
And there's a lot of fun with the ink, and you can hide in the ink as a squid. If you don't know, there's a significant portion of this game is the fact that you are both a kid and a squid.
A squid, if you will.
And
you know what? That portmanteau didn't really work out so well.
No. And there is, if you're like, hey, I haven't heard any good aquatic themed puns lately, well then I have a game for you. They are not subtle with the puns.
Okay, how many times have you heard the word calamari?
Oh, the two of the main characters are named Callie and Mari.
Oh. Oh no.
So every time, so there are a lot of there's some really interesting kind of quirks about it. I think the most obvious one, there's no voice chat.
Right.
Obviously that's a conscious choice by Nintendo. I think it works well without. Obviously you're avoiding the cursing, and the various slurs. The downside is there's not much. I guess if you really want to coordinate team attacks, you lose a little bit of that.
I mean, if the goal is really to just get as much paint down as you can, it's not hard to look at the map and see, okay, there's an unsplotched spot over here. I'm just going to go there. Yeah,
exactly. And there is the matches are only 3 minutes. So even if you're having a horrible game and you're getting super frustrated, it's over in 3 minutes. It's not something like, no, I know I keep hammering the MOBA genre, but you're not putting in an hour into a shitty experience.
Okay, so is that enough time to cover most of the arena?
Yeah, most of the arena will get covered by the thing, and probably one of the funniest things. So what's nice is they have the Wii U gamepad, and then it's a constantly updating map of you see all the colors. So you see your own players, you don't see the enemy players, but it's very obvious what's going on.
Oh, okay.
And they have, all right, so one of the other kind of Nintendo quirks is that only 2 maps are active at a time, and it's random. They change every 4 hours.
And how many maps total are there right now?
I think they only released with 4 maps. They've already added a 5th. They sort of have said that I think all the maps are already on the disc. These aren't DLCs. There's no download, but they are purposely sort of slow rolling their content, because they they want to keep players interested over the next few months.
Yeah, because I can imagine the novelty wearing off with so few like maps.
Right, and I would say so far it's not really an issue. When it first launched, the online, I think the matchmaking was very slow, and maybe 1 in every 3 games someone would disconnect.
Hey, you know what? That's not bad for an online game in 2015.
No, it's not. But that's they already released a patch. I mean, that's not too uncommon now. All right, so there's a limited maps. There is a level progression, so you kind of unlock better weapons, and really the gear does get better. So if you go into a game with significantly high level players, sometimes you'll get run over. The weapons are still good. They really don't make major changes on the weapons. They sort of change the loadouts you can have.
Okay.
I mean, it's just a ton of fun. They've already unlocked the ranked mode. Like, it actually launched without one of the main modes, which is sort of like a King of the Hill mode that is more concentrated on player combat. But if you're a fan, if you're really, even if I would say if you're a Nintendo fan, I mean, my girlfriend plays it. She hates first-person shooters. She loves this game.
Well, yeah, because it's in third person.
She only uses the roller. Yeah, she pretty much only uses the roller, so she doesn't have to worry about the fine points of aiming. But she curses like a sailor when she dies, so I know she's into it. Oh, so how about you? What have you been playing?
Yeah, I've been playing a game called Valkyria Chronicles. It is an old quote unquote PlayStation 3 game that Sega decided earlier this year to just release on Steam.
Okay, so I believe I remember this game. It was sort of like a steampunk tactical RPG.
It is a weird little game. It is basically an allegory for
slash dating simulator. Sorry.
No, there's none of that yet, at least. It's like an allegory for World War II, the German invasion of Poland, where Poland fights back and wins. But technologically, it happens in a weird time between World War I and World War II, where tanks are fairly common, but air power is not yet a threat. So that's where we're at, and it's a JRPG, so it's basically whimsical as fuck.
Yeah, it's I know what game you're talking about. It's very distinctive looking.
The art style is beautiful and fantastic, and yeah, the whimsy's cranked up to 11. So it's a very lighthearted take on like a brutal imperial invasion of a small country that has but like a militia to fight back.
Oh, why won't Führer notice me?
Oh, there are elements of that.
Oh no!
And I'm only 8 hours in, but I can see seeds being planted of stuff like that. But yeah, no, the actual combat is you have this tactical map, and you have a set number of actions that you can do. And when you do an action, you take control of a person in third person, and you sort of move them around the map to the limit of their action points, and then you get to shoot something or do an action or like heal somebody or do something. And the shooting is manual aiming. So you can like aim for headshots and weak parts of tanks. So
since this is on Steam, can you use the keyboard mouse?
You could use keyboard and mouse, or it's fully hooked up for the controllers. And like it's not a perfect game. I mean, the way that the actual between mission structure is set up is really archaic. You sort of as you go along unlock these interludes. They're basically just cutscenes. Some of them you have to advance yourself. Some of them are like full-on cutscenes, but they're only like 2 or 3 minutes long, and as soon as you finish one, you go back to the main screen, and then a little button thing comes up and says, "You've unlocked a new episode," and then you go do the same thing over and over again until you get to the battle, and then you do it again and again until you get to the next chapter. Like it's an archaic like game structure that is thankfully not really done anymore. That is kind of annoying to page through all of this stuff manually. But like the game is wonderful. I really like it so far, and it's pretty darn like strategic, and it's still pretty good. I like it a lot.
So I'm trying to remember one of the complaints I heard about it. How much is there persistence between between battles, like your character is leveling up and such?
So the way that works is you accrue experience through just doing the missions, and you go back to this headquarters place, which is just basically another set of menus, and you spend your experience to level up an entire class. There's multiple classes of the characters that you control, and you level up an entire class at once by allocating experience points to it. And the experience points sort of vary between levels and between classes. So like the engineer's class, which can't really do a lot of damage but is like a support class basically, they take like the least amount of experience points to level up, whereas the shock trooper, which does the most damage to enemy players, takes the most. But yeah, no, it's a beautiful game. I think it was made by the same people that did Skies of Arcadia. If you remember that game?
Yeah, is this a Sony game?
No, it's Sega.
Sega, that's right.
So Vice and Ica from Skies of Arcadia are in the game.
Oh, nice.
You can just have them on your team. And I think it's the same voice actors.
Oh, no, just shout out for Skies of Arcadia. Underrated Dreamcast
That game is
gem.
rad, yeah. I love that game. I think I played it on GameCube.
Oh, that's right. They did eventually re-release it for GameCube. Well, good.
Yeah.
More people play it, the better. Great.
Yeah, no, I love that game. I don't think I finished it, though. I should revisit that.
That one I actually finished. That one is not on my massive list of RPGs I put many, many hours into. I've not finished.
Yeah, that game was stylish as hell, and you could... I'm remembering the massive battle cruiser that you get in that game, and it makes me happy thinking about it.
Welcome back to the Skies of Arcadia Nostalgia Podcast.
You start out with this dinky little airship, and by the end, you've got like a battleship Missouri in the sky.
This is a wonderful game. I remember. I'm trying to remember what one of the characters is sort of like a cowboy. Has 2 6-shooters. And I remember I'm trying to remember the voiceover from one of the special moves. I remember that was like, I would constantly imitate it, but I don't remember it now. I'm gonna have to go to YouTube.
Yeah, I'm gonna
go down a YouTube hole
after this. Oh man. Oh, enough about that though, Mike. What do you got on your radar? What are you looking forward to?
So it's not much, but I think just a couple days ago, there's a new game published by Double Fine called Massive Chalice. I think that looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about it. I think it's been on my radar since it's been in early access.
Yeah, so I think it finally hit 1.0, I think June 1st.
Yeah, and this month, if you have an Xbox One with gold, you get it for free, I believe.
Oh, that's nice. Usually the gold stuff is like way behind.
Yeah, no, they Double Fine has a big relationship with Microsoft, so they're...
Well, that's good. I mean, I don't have an Xbone, but it looks really interesting. It's sort of like a little bit of civilization strategy, a little bit of what's not the chivalry games, the medieval feudal games where you have to like marry bloodlines and think like the long game with your legacy.
Oh, interesting. There are elements of that in the most recent Fire Emblem where characters can get together and they have a kid that sort of takes on traits for both the parents. Which, yeah, so that sounds pretty cool.
All right. So, a lot of news, Chris. What do you want to start with?
Oh man, there's so much. We'll just start at the top of my list. Is that Lego or Warner Brothers is publishing a Minecraft clone that is basically just a Lego game, but not like the Lego games of yore, where you're just a minifig going around shooting stuff. It's like Minecraft, but with Lego pieces instead.
Right, which in fairness, you can say Minecraft is just the best Lego game ever made.
Yes. However, what Minecraft doesn't do that this game will do is have different sized blocks.
Well, I think one of the interesting things, it kind of seems like it's looking for a niche, in that it's not. I think most of the stuff is sort of pre-made. Is that true?
Right now, I think it is, mostly because they just entered early access. I think their idea is that whereas Minecraft can sort of be played as a survival game, with a creative mode, this will be more of a creative game with maybe a preset story. That's sort of the thing that I can gather, is that there will be a creative mode, but the sort of the chunk of this, there will be like a single player bit where there's a pre-made world for you to go mess around in, and then just sort of mess around with. You don't have to worry about like gathering resources and then building with them. You just sort of build.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's
moving on.
What else? Yeah.
Moving on. Bravely, the Nintendo Direct last week noted that Bravely Second, the sequel to Bravely Default, would be localized next year. Looking forward to that. I actually got one of the endings of Bravely Default earlier this month.
Great.
That it is a crime that more people will not finish that game, because while the crazy bullshit narrative turn that it makes, the hoops that it makes you go through, the narrative turn is worth it, I think.
Oh, okay. I have a very long plane ride coming up, so you might have just talked me into repacking it. All right, so that's good.
So yeah, that's gonna come out next year. The sequel to that. Now next up is probably my most exciting story of the week is XCOM 2.
Yes, and
it's real
soon, right?
November.
Relatively soon.
What the fuck? I love Firaxis and 2K Games, because they announce games and then they come out 6 months later, like announcement to release. They don't hype them up with teasers and stuff. They did this with Beyond Earth. They did this with Starships. They announce the games coming out. They show it off. Then it comes out in fairly short order.
That's true. I feel like XCOM had a little more build up, but they were probably trying to hype it up, get people excited.
This was like, that was a big departure for them, because they up to that point it was all Civ.
Yeah, no, I think people will be. They don't need to get people excited for XCOM 2. It was just going to happen.
Oh, it looks so good.
Sexy snakes.
Yeah, crazy, sexy crotch veg snakes.
It is not underwater, though, in case you're wondering. In case you're wondering if it follows the original XCOM's timeline.
Hey, you don't know. That ship could go anywhere.
That's true. Yeah, we shouldn't say that. The aliens have taken over Earth. The only place left for XCOM to run is the bottom of the sea.
Becomes Sequest DSV.
I had that SNES game, which if we want to spend another 25 minutes talking about Sequest DSV on the SNES, I have very strong opinions. But we should probably
that
keep
show
going.
as a kid. The XCOM 2 assumes that in the first game, the premise is that in the first game you lost, which if you were playing on the higher difficulties was probably likely.
And in say the UN was, or the countries are so picked, like, God, you let one country, you let one city, get totally devoured by aliens, and they're like, oh, we don't want you anymore.
What are they going to do with their money? Just give it to me.
I know, right? I have the only 8 people on the planet who are capable of fighting against aliens.
Yeah. So it looks like you're going to be on the run, making sort of like guerrilla style attacks. So that looks really cool. But there's some interesting bits. Melee is going to be a thing in this next one. And it's not coming to consoles. Enemy Unknown / Within did eventually go to consoles. This one will be PC only.
I mean, the first one went to the iPad. I mean, I imagine this will eventually move on, right?
Well, I don't know. It depends on what kind of graphics engine they're working with. It didn't look to be anything different than like the XCOM 2 engine or the XCOM Enemy Unknown engine / the Civ engine. So we'll see. If it's on the same engine, then I don't understand why they're not just porting it right away anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll eventually make it. I'm surprised they're making sort of a big deal that's PC only.
That reassures me that it's not just going to be one of these mobile focused designed games like Starship was.
Oh, that's true. I mean, it's good. I mean, I'm definitely very excited. It's pretty much the same team, right?
Next up, probably what the rest of the world considers the biggest story of the week is Fallout 4.
Pretty good trailer.
Like we didn't know it was coming.
Yeah. That's some wicked good-looking power armor.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, sorry, that's all the Boston I know.
Fallout 4. We knew it was coming, so now it's here. Let's. I'll just wait until it comes out. I'm not gonna get on board the hype train because that leads to sadness.
Yeah, are you sure you don't want to jump to wild conclusions based off one trailer about what the graphics engine is capable of?
I was gonna say that the CG did not look great. But you know what? I'll just let them make it and wait for it to come out.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I mean, to be honest, I didn't really thought Fallout 3 as like I thought it was a good-looking game. I don't think of it as like a graphics cutting-edge powerhouse.
I mean, at the time, it was pretty amazing. I don't know. I think New Vegas was probably a little better in that department just because it had more colors.
No, I mean that's true, and that's you're always going to kind of have that problem with Fallout and the tan, the tan and gray and browns.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see what they do with that.
Are you afraid they put too much Ron Perlman in the trailer? Like they sort of blew their Ron Perlman load, and now
I only watched it once, but I don't think that was him.
No? Oh man,
I don't think it was too high pitched.
I don't know. One Fallout 8, they're gonna be like, war changes, and then my mind is gonna be blown.
This time the war has changed.
No, they got that in their back pocket when they start losing money on Fallout.
No. Well, I put on Twitter earlier this week when they put the teaser site up, and it's like Fallout 4, The Elder Scrolls 6, nuclear war has opened a rift in space-time. This 400-hour game is both Skyrim and guns.
All right, I could get into that.
Yeah. So, rest of the news that I have is all Steam stuff. Steam. Controllers and Steam boxes, first-party Steam boxes, are going up for pre-order this week. They'll come out in October. I don't know are you going to get a controller, do you think?
You know what? I'm on the fence. I think I'll eventually get a controller. I'm a little wary of being the beta. I know it's been beta a while, but I'm still a little wary of getting the first generation controller.
Yeah, I think I'll get one once my existing 360 controllers sort of wear out.
And that's true. I have a 360 controller. It works very well. I think that the trackpad looks really interesting.
I'm way interested in that because since I'm moving, I disassembled my computer desk, so I'm playing mostly off of my TV, and having a keyboard and a mouse for that is pretty rough. So
okay, all right. No, I mean I'm on board. At least with the controller. The Steam box. I would say if you're actually listening to this, you probably have a PC capable of playing most games.
Well, you'd be surprised. Our mutual friend Patrick is actually really interested in the Steam box as a concept, mostly because he doesn't want to have to deal with doing custom builds and having to upgrade the hardware every time. He'd rather just have that console experience of plug it in and play it.
That's absolutely true. I think consoles maybe lost a little bit of the advantage they had now that you really have to install a game before you play it.
That's true.
At least most of the big ones.
Well, it's certainly advantageous too.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm intrigued by the concept. I'd be surprised if it does gangbusters, if it does really well. But I hope it works. Like the more people playing PC games, the better. The more. That's just. I'm not one of those PC master race people. I'd love it if everyone played on the PC.
We get closer and closer to having the unified console.
And maybe this is a step closer.
The great end to the console wars. The elders prophesized it for years.
I was saying, and Gabe comes down on high and
with his knives.
The great tidings of Half-Life 3. But
God can dream. Just like a console shooter where you shoot consoles.
Oh man.
Or Half-Life 3 is basically just Dota 3.
That's also entirely
Half-Life MOBA. With hats. Okay, and then the last bit of Steam news is Steam is now officially offering refunds on games that you have played for less than 2 hours and owned for less than 2 weeks, which officially codifies sort of an unofficial, if you complain loud enough, eventually you might get a refund system that they had previously. My only concern with that is there are a couple games even in my library where I sort of got everything that I wanted from the game in less than 2 hours, and I'd rather and then I didn't want to return it. Like Gone Home, you can knock out in like an hour and a half.
That's true. That's a really good example too, because that's a phenomenal game that you get the full experience.
Yeah, in one sitting. And I imagine that the policy will be more flexible in the future. Maybe the developers can set their own refund time within reason, I guess. But this is a pretty big move for Steam, which has previously not had a policy like this.
I think most people would say this is good. It's good for consumers.
I think in general it's good. It does sort of... There are fringes of it. Like with all consumer-based policies, there are fringes that do not benefit, but I think in general it is a good thing. So do you have any games in your library that, if this policy had existed, that you would have returned?
Oh man, that is a fantastic question that I did not expect to answer.
Well, I'll do mine.
All right.
I bought a game called X Rebirth. Pre-ordered it actually. I
remember that game. Yeah,
it is a space sim in the X series, and when it came out, it was garbage. It was a hot steaming pile of hot shitty garbage. And I just clicked over to my library. It is now on version 3.53.
Oh wow.
And I last played it in November 2013 for 4 minutes.
Oh no.
So if this policy had existed back then, I would have definitely returned that, because the moment that I logged into it, I saw all of this forum chatter about how hot garbagey this thing was, and maybe they fixed it. I don't know. We'll see.
But you're not really interested in finding out.
I don't know. I'm down for space sims, even shitty ones. So we'll see. That's definitely one I'd probably return. Let's see what else. I have a bunch of different versions of Arma 2 that I'd probably return. I don't know why I bought those.
That's a really good one. I bought Arma 2 when DayZ was big, and I wanted to get into it. I think I bought the wrong version.
No.
There was like a version. I bought a version that didn't have the expansion that I needed. Like I was, I guess, a little confused.
Yeah, because I think I did the same thing. I think I bought Arma 2, and then I bought Arma 2 British Armed Forces and Operation Arrowhead and PMC and Arma X Anniversary Edition. Why do I have these games? I've never played them.
No, that's true. So that's probably a good one. That I'm like, shit. Like I just messed up. Like I didn't mean to do this. So let me just return it.
Yeah, that's definitely. Yeah.
Let's see. There's a game. It's still really in development. I think about early access. Called Pixel Piracy. That was kind of fun. A Terraria looking game where you sort of build a boat.
Yeah.
A pirate ship.
I remember that.
I don't know. I didn't really get into it. I don't think it's a bad game. I think it's a fun game. It didn't click with me. So that might be one I would have returned.
Okay. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. This has been episode 9 of the Games of Our Lives. We got the big 10-week anniversary coming up, and I want to do something special for it. I have in my, speaking of Steam library, a free copy of the game Nuclear Throne by Vlambeer. It's a great game. Mike and I both love it.
That's a lot of fun.
So if you want this free copy that I'm just going to give away, why don't you go ahead, subscribe to the channel. If you leave a comment on this video for Games of Our Lives, episode 9, I will put you in the hopper for it. Please don't, if you already have it, obviously, and or if you don't have a Steam account. It's kind of rough. You could also follow me on Twitter, fractruck_games, and I will also consider new legitimate follows to be put into the hopper as well. So leave a comment, follow me on Twitter. You'll be in the hopper for a free game that is really cool.
It's a great bribe, people. You should take it.
Yeah. So for Michael, I've been Chris. This is the Games of Our Lives. We'll see you next time. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to see more videos. If you like the videos, please share them with your friends. If you got feedback for me, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. You could follow me on Twitter at fractruck_games for the latest updates and notifications when new videos go up. And thus, dear viewer, I bid you adieu. Good night.
I was a Vanguard, but now I don't have any more biotics.
I've always been antibiotic as well as antihistamine. It's a controversial stance, I know. But, I mean, that's just the way I was made.
No, that was a long-winded Mass Effect reference.
I know. I was building off of it with my own dumb joke.